Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS and Ascension. And now it's time to finally advance to the 4th level of Watcher's Keep, so let's just step through the portal and see what awaits us there. And actually first we're going to be greeted by a little cutscene. We're going to be able to witness some Illithids and Githyanki fighting against each other, to the amusement of the person behind the glass. And he can apparently tinker with some controls back there and unleash some spells. And now that he's bored of all this, he can even summon a demon to scatter everyone about, make them run away in fear.
What? Where did you come from? I didn't conjure you up, did I? No, of course not. Only planar creatures get summoned. It must be foolish adventurers.
So already we get some hints as to what he can do. But if we mention Odrin and the Imprisoned One in our opening statement here, we're actually going to get one more line out of him. So let's say, I'm Senashira. I have been sent by Odrin to find the Imprisoned One. Who are you?
Odrin? Imprisoned One? Those names mean nothing to me. Who you are is not really important anyway. I'm the only one who matters around here. I am Carston the Magnificent, Lord of the Level!
Lord of the Level! If you remember, I mentioned this guy as far back as Baldur's Gate 1, where near the end of the game, when we were in the Undercity, we met the party of Raven, and they had a guy named Carston with them. And then I mentioned the more magnificent of the two, who is the Lord of the 4th level of Watcher's Keep, apparently. If you were the Lord of the Level, why are you stuck behind that glass? Do not look at me as if I'm insane. I'm just a victim of circumstances, all, making the best of a bad situation. It's an interesting story, really. About 10 years ago I was an adventurer, much like you, and then I took an arrow to... Anyway, I came with my apprentices to explore this dungeon, seeking fame and fortune. What I found was this machine, the most amazing creation I had ever seen. You must mean that strange machine you're in. What is it? I'm glad you asked. This fascinating device besides me is the machine of Lum the Mad. With it, I can summon creatures to entertain me, and then unleash my wrath upon them when I get bored. But how did you end up inside that glass? Ah, the glass casing. Well, you see, I didn't actually mean to create it. The machine of Lum the Mad can be a fickle mistress. Actions have consequences which cannot be undone. So we fiddled with the machine and it blew up in your face. Now you're trapped. How poetic. Trapped? You misunderstand. This glass protects me. It makes me impervious to harm. I need neither food nor sustenance. Even the ravages of time can no longer touch me. I have become immortal. But surely you must want to be free. What good is immortality if you're stuck in one place forever? I, Carston the Magnificent, Lord of the Level, grow weary of your chatter. Time to make things more interesting. Now he's going to summon a little welcoming party for us. Some more Illithids. And those are actually opponents that we haven't seen in a while. And let me just quickly inspect here. It seems like we all have chaotic commands except Imoen, so we are going to reach into a resource that we have not used yet, the brine potions that we have obtained way back in the Underdark. And they are perfect for this type of situation as more of an emergency tool to be protected against the Mind Flayer psionics, because they only last for one turn, so they're not something that will last you through a whole Mind Flayer dungeon, likely. And also what's interesting about these brine potions is that actually they do not protect you against the psionic maze ability for some reason, but they do protect you against the psionic blast, which is the most important, the most dangerous of the Mind Flayer abilities, that can of course stun the target and make them very vulnerable to their intelligence drain. And basically, since we have not fought the Illithids in a while, and on this level we are going to meet way more of them, it might be a time for a little refresher when it comes to the Mind Flayers. Of course, like I said, an absolute priority is to, of course, be immune to their psionic abilities. Also, they can drain 5 intelligence per hit, so it's very important to keep track of that, because, of course, if our intelligence gets drained to 0, we die. And they also have 50% physical resistance. They can see invisible, and with SCS they have a couple of more abilities. Especially when it comes to their psionic abilities that it's a little bit more difficult to protect against. There's this ballistic attack, which is a physical damage ability, where I guess they direct their psionic abilities onto the environment to like fling elements of the environment onto the targets. But actually, since we are already using the brine potion and talking about the Illithids, this also might be a good opportunity to talk about the different ways of protecting ourselves against their tricks. And like I said, the brine potions unfortunately don't protect against their psionic maze ability. Of course, our go-to protection is chaotic commands. That makes us immune to psionic blast, which is the most dangerous. But this Scion's Blade that we have obtained in Yagashura's place is the most amazing tool against Mind Flayers, because it does indeed provide us an immunity, as it says here, to all psionic attacks. And that actually makes you immune to detonate and ballistic attack as well, for some reason. So, you know, ballistic attack, it can be pretty dangerous because it can hit for like above 40 damage and physical damage, and whenever there are many Mind Flayers around, that can create some dangerous situations. And this is exactly the environment we're going to find ourselves in soon, when there are going to be a lot of Mind Flayers out there. So yeah, and even though Sarevok still has his chaotic commands, we are going to give him a weapon specifically tailored to battle Illithids, and he is actually going to be immune to basically everything that they can do except their intelligence drain. Alright, so Imoen now has her brine potion active, and we can just unleash our brute force on them. Actually, Imoen, I guess now it's going to be a good time to switch to Fire Tooth again. After a pretty lengthy period of using the short bow of Gessen. Now Imoen can practice her crossbow shooting a little bit. Yeah, Seneshira got hit once by a Devour Brain ability, and she was reduced to 12 intelligence. But these intelligence drains don't last for too long. Oh, there was also one Githyanki that died. Might even take his plate armor, since, dude, where's my gold? So in this situation, I think we should care about our gold a little bit. I am even going to get these 19 strength potions. Well, this might be a little bit too much. We can also drop the Scepter of Radiance now, and we are going to be able to talk with Carston a little bit more, but before we do, I am going to take out, where is it, our Cloak of Reflection to give Seneshira a complete immunity to electrical damage, because Carston is not going to be willing to talk too much.
What?
And basically, if we ask him about his apprentices, he's going to get pretty annoyed by that question and unleash this minor lightning bolt, which is kind of a funny name because this is kind of like a chain lightning spell. If we had more people around Seneshira here, it would actually chain its damage to everyone. And, yeah, alright, Carston, stop fiddling with the controls. Talk to me. Yeah, oh great, Lord of the Level. May I ask some questions? But unfortunately, you cannot really get any info about him, because every question here is going to bore him. Yeah, be gone. And if we insist on asking more, he's just going to unleash that lightning bolt again. So, rot in your cage for all I care. Alright, that's it when it comes to Carston. Now is going to be a time to kind of take a look around and see what we're dealing with here. There's one big door to the southwest. We're going to inspect that in a second. Oh, it seems like there's a chance where... Okay, we actually got some Yuan-Ti, and there can be also some pretty high-level shades, like devil shades spawning as well. It seems like, of course, we have used all remove magics from Seneshira. Let's just unleash a quick one from Imoen. And just kind of get in there. Take care of that Yuan-Ti mage. Actually, let's just switch to... Oh yeah. I already switched her earlier to range damage. Alright, now let's just take care of that mage. And get rid of this rabble that interrupted our trap detection. I wanted to detect this trap. And we're also going to loot some stuff. Well, I'm not going to loot bolts +1 or +2, but we can get this full plate mail +1. This is going to sell. And they also give, the developers, I guess, give us some non-magical weapons here, because we are going to encounter some magical golems, but we don't need to loot any of those. We already have all of the non-magical weapons that we need. Alright, let's see if anything spawned here. Alright, Yuanti and the troll. Let's just insta-kill the troll with our Flayer and just clean up. Not a very demanding encounter here. Not sure if one of them, I think, is trapped. Oh, these boxes, these crates, containers. Here we have these like colored plates that are going to serve as a hint for kind of like a puzzle, I guess, later. Alright, here we have some more trolls. Let's get rid of the spectral one first. We also have a spirit troll casting back there. And not fast enough with the interrupt. So there's going to be some unholy blight damage coming to us. But not a big deal, of course, at this point in the game. Yeah, when it comes to these trolls, we can just insta-kill them with our Flayer. Alright, cool. And there's one of them, one of those spirit trolls that got knocked unconscious while invisible. Okay, I guess that was just a delayed sound effect. I thought we might have had one of those spirit trolls being problematic. Just like they used to be back in the day in the Druid Grove. Actually, before we go here, we are going to switch Kira and I to dual wield now. Let's just give her something like that. We're actually going to... We have 1 gold. Actually, we are going to just... yeah, stash the wands in Saravox. Bag of holding, and we're going to drop anything that's that has any charges on it, because those magic golems are going to be here, and they can drain charges from items. And then, of course, they require non-magical weapons to be hurt. So, Kiranai's offhand does not work for that. And there we go, now we're going to be safe. Alright, and from this pool we're going to be able to loot this colored blue oil. That is going to be useful for us later. Give that to Sarvok. I think none of these are... Oh, there is one trap. Okay, we already are full on our arrows, it seems. Our ammo belt. And that's good. We are going to sell some arrows soon. Alright, so this northeastern portion of the main kind of chamber is now explored. Let's check out the southwest one. Here there's going to be a little ambush by some mimics, but first we have some mustard jellies to deal with. And a very nice formation they spawned. Oh yeah, of course. Let's try out our new spectral brand and see how it does against these mustard jellies. But look at that beautiful 2 cold damage. Right now the mimics reveal themselves. What a nice ambush, like a couple of crates to incentivize those careless adventurers. Just lose their awareness, I guess, and fall prey to the killer mimics. But yeah, at this point, of course, they can't really do much to us. I think there might be a trap somewhere here. Or just a lock. Alright, now we have some gold. We managed to loot some cash. Have another wand of spell striking. You can stock up on those quite a bit when going through Watcher's Keep. Oh, this one is even full. Our high enchantment ammo belt.
Yes, it will be done. What is it?
Again, some of these plates. And here we're going to have 6 braziers and a locked door, and we're going to have to do something with them to unlock that door later. First we have to gather the components. We're going to need 3 collars and some flint and tinder. And actually first we are going to go to the northwest here and visit the Illithid encampment. And the cool thing about these passages here is that they don't give you an autosave, so we can actually leave some guys behind. And basically we are only going to need Kirinai and Saravok for this, I think, for this initial fight. And they are going to be our main players in the Illithid encampment here. Primarily Kirinai, and we're going to go for a somewhat armor class heavy setup on her. We're even going to give her this shield, I think. But that's going to be it. All of the other armor class increasing items we're going to give to Saravok. I think he is going to get the Helm of Baldur, the Cloak of the Sewers. And I think we're going to already equip him with a red dragon plate. We're going to have a use for that soon on him. And that is going to also free up a slot for this ring. So he can have -9, Kirinai can have -14 armor class. That should keep them safe. They have chaotic commands still. And I think actually Kirinai is going to use 1 stone skin scroll. We have 21 of these, it seems, we've managed to accumulate over the course of the game. We can definitely spare 1, but not too many. We are going to need some stone skins to be safe against those ballistic attacks, like I mentioned, because there are going to be some good numbers of the Illithids, not in this initial encounter, but there's going to be a couple, and I think in the last one there's like 9 of them, with some Umber Hulks as well. So, also I think we can give her this Wand of Cloudkill already. But anyway, let's step in. And yeah, Saravok is of course completely protected against everything, and Kirinai, you know, can absorb the ballistic attacks with her stone skin. Should be hard to hit when it comes to their intelligence drain. She can suffer or withstand 2 hits from Mind Flayers. Saravok with his great intelligence can actually suffer through 3 attacks and still be alive. We're not going to use the Wand of Cloudkill here. I think there's only 3 of these Umber Hulks, or 4. And this is a small, or relatively small encounter when it comes to this encampment of the Illithids. And yeah, we're going to want to focus on our attention on the Mind Flayers. Yeah, the Detonate deals magical damage, but it's very insignificant damage. It's more for like interrupting spells, I guess, so we didn't really go out of our way to protect ourselves against that. As you can see, Saravok's Deathbringer Assault only dealt 100 damage, because they have 50% physical resistance, and that affects that attack as well. Alright, pretty smooth sailing here. And I didn't even get hit once by the Mind Flayer direct attacks. Well, one thing about Mind Flayers is that even in Throne of Bhaal they don't have a tremendous THAC0, so going for a not even an all-out equipment selection focused on armor class is going to be sufficient. Right. Also, we are already going to send Kirinai over here. We can even give her 1 Kai use, and let's put our Spectral Brand here to use for a nice backstab. Boom, 108 damage. And yeah, here I'm using the Scarlet Ninja Toe in her main hand so that she can have more attacks. And it's a very good weapon in the main hand as well. With its +3 enchantment, it has a chance to poison with its attacks. Yeah, it's a very nice weapon, it's just that you cannot backstab with it.
What is it without doubt?
And we're already going to go up and loot some stuff from here.
Speak quickly and precisely. Yes, without hesitation.
So here we have found another wand of cursing that I might recharge, might not. In our financial situation now, I'm not sure if I'm going to spare the money for that. Yeah, now we have half of an Illithid rod here, which we're going to need for a little bit later to open the door. And yeah, I think now we are going to cast this protection from fire on Kiranai. We're going to basically move away with everyone except Saravak and Kiranai. And I think we're going to even have Jaheira here. Alright, let's progress further in. And they are already waiting, at least some of them here. And I think they should have, yeah, some Mind Flayers approaching. So we have these two Firestorms, one on Jaheira and one on Anamin, still available. So let's use those, because of course Firestorm bypasses magic resistance, which is the perfect thing for Mind Flayers that don't have any elemental resistances, but they have very, very high magic resistance. So this is going to take care of them nicely. And of course Saravak is completely... well, not completely, because, yeah... Kiranai still had the 50% fire resistance ring, so now Saravak is completely immune to fire, and Kiranai is immune because of the spell we just cast on her. So we can just throw in that Firestorm, hopefully keep Jaheira out of the view of the Mind Flayers, so they can't use their teleportation abilities to get to her. And yeah, now let the AoE commence. That's just beautiful. Look at how bunched up they are nicely. Kiranai still has her stone skins, but let's not get the situation out of control. Let's kind of heal her already, preemptively. Right, she got hit once, with some critical hits surely. Right, just focusing here on the Mind Flayers. You know, we can even, since we're not going to use Saravak in that final encounter down south, I think we can use his Greater Whirlwinds because we are going to rest, I think, before we visit the Githyanki encampment, because there are some tough encounters there, plus we want to regenerate Saravak stuff as well, change our spells for that. Anyway, so I think we can spare this Greater Whirlwind here, even though, of course, Mind Flayers are not super receptive to like physical damage. This is going to do some work. Boom, 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 boom. Saravak is just mad with fury. And just offering them all of these attacks. Even your puny heals are not going to do anything. Alright, cool. So this whole group has been dealt with. Yeah, we know your tricks, tentacle boys. We know how to deal with you. Alright, here before I forget, let's just disarm some traps before we progress further. Here's the final locked door that we need that key we have to assemble from the two parts. Alright, boom, and I think this here container is trapped as well. Let's actually bunch up for the loot. Nice, Leryl's Tears necklace, and then the dexterity combo needed for the machine. Now that we know how the machine is called, and know that these notes by Lum the Mad must mean something, must be a valuable clue, and I think we have gathered them in Saravak's scroll case. Sometimes it's just LTM, of course standing for Lum the Mad. But yeah, we are going to get access to that machine a bit later, since it's going to be needed for us to progress to the next level. It is the key to get out of here. Right, and there's no one in these separate cells, but in this one up here, there's going to be a dying person we're going to be able to talk a little bit with, an apprentice. Have mercy, I will never tell you. Please just let me die. I'm not here to hurt you, I'm here to help. I told you, fiends, Carston deserves to stay in that glass forever. I will never let him escape. Don't speak, I can help you if you just lie still. You are not one of those monsters. You cannot help me. Just let me die in peace, I beg you. But we can ask him some questions first. My wounds run deep, my time is almost done, but I shall answer your questions if I am able. And if we actually ask about that glass case around Carston, he's going to be very adamant not to spill the beans, I guess. I will not tell you that. He deserves to stay there forever. Ask of me something else if you wish, but not that. Never that. Why do you hate Carston so much? Carston was my master. He brought me and his other apprentices to this horrid place many years ago, seeking long forbidden knowledge buried within the depths of this dungeon. He led us through the traps and guardians of the upper levels of the dungeon. When we came across the machine of Lumdamad, he knew it was the only way to open the gate to the lower dungeon. Yeah, it is the key. I actually forgot to draw your attention to the two portals that were in that main chamber to the northwest, near the entrance to this Illithid encampment. One of them was clearly active, and the other one was, kind of without its magical power. So you could see how it was inactive and unable to be used. Anyway, Carston was foolish enough to think he could master the machine. He studied the controls, then flipped a switch, and was instantly encased in that magic shell of glass. Before we apprentices could come to his aid, that idiot Carston flipped another switch. Instantly we were surrounded by a horde of ravaging demons from another plane. A few things are as dangerous as a wizard's pride. We might all have survived if that fool Carston had let us work our spells, but he panicked and began flipping switches at random. Between the fireballs, lightning, and monsters he unleashed, it is a miracle I escaped with my life. My companions were not so lucky, torn limb from limb by demons or burnt into ash by the magic of that infernal machine. Yet Carston was unharmed, completely protected inside his glass bubble. But even though Carston survived, he was trapped inside his prison, helpless to escape despite seeing the... No, I will not speak of that. I could have released him, but instead I left him there to rot. A fitting tale. How did you end up here? Using my wits and cunning, I have survived these past 10 years in this dungeon, seeking a way out. I have seen Carston grow more and more mad. He summons creatures to amuse himself so he can watch them suffer. A few years ago, he conjured up a group of Illithids, locked in battle with the Githyanki war party. Since then, the two groups have survived in this place, the Illithids in the northwest and the Githyanki in the south. And you were stuck in the middle. The creatures waste their time battling each other or launching futile attacks upon Carston in his glass case. I avoided the monsters until some months ago, when the Illithids finally caught me. The Illithids sensed I knew the secret of Carston's cage. They tortured me in body, mind, and spirit, but I would not talk. Carston will never be free. His resolve is strong when it comes to that. It's not even, no point in asking him more, because there were some conversation options earlier. But, is there nothing I can do to help you? I am beyond your power to either help or harm. The tortures of the Illithids cannot be undone. I embrace the darkness. And unfortunately he passes away without giving us the secrets of how to get to Carston, how to break his glass cage. But we are going to have other means to find that out. I'm not going to pick up that wand of magic missiles. Whoops, not what I wanted to do here. Oh yeah, of course. Let me just quickly sort this so that's... we don't have a complete mess in our bags. Alright, now we're only going to use Kirinai, I think. We're just going to transfer this Psion's blade to her. Let's just make a lesser mess here. Because yeah, she is now going to need all of the protection stuff to improve her armor class. And yeah, I think this should be it. Because her stone skins apparently were cut through already. Plus, in that last chamber, there's going to be so many of these Illithids that I'm not going to take any chances with her stone skins. She needs something like that Psion's blade to be completely invulnerable against their ballistic attacks. And we can also maybe place one trap here, because traps also bypass magic resistance, or not even bypass, they are just not magical effects, so they are not affected by magical resistance, so this is a good opportunity to perhaps showcase that off. And we are going to keep everyone in the back, and we are just going to pre-cast this Firestorm on Anomen. Right, and now that this is underway, we can open the door. Maybe even throw in that Cloud Kill in there. Yeah, they are already unleashing their stuff, and of course now we have these best types of traps since level 32 of Thief, I think. So yeah, 20 static like poison damage. That is just great. Aside from their physical damage as well. And there's no saving throw for that. Their saving throw was against the instant kill property of these traps. Right, now let's just get Anomen out of there and stand kind of not in the door but in front of the door. Those are some Diablo 1 tactics. So that not that many of these Mind Flayers can hit us all at once, because when they get, you know, critical rolls on their attacks, they can still drain the intelligence of Kirnai. I don't want that to happen. We just want her to survive here, to block them. Yeah, there's like, we can see 8 of them, but I think there's 9 in total. I think there's 1 in the back, yeah. So of course our main damage dealer is going to be that Firestorm. They were softened up by that trap also, and we just need to finish them off here. The Cloud Kill is mostly to dispose of the Umber Hulks, because they are low level enough so that Cloud Kill kills them if they fail their saving throw. Alright, she got hit once, so we have to be careful about that. But yeah, now the Firestorm has done its job, and most of them are dead already. Okay, those are just near death. Now stop with those puny heals. Alright, she got hit again. Now I think when it comes to that last guy we can just go all out, all in, just finish him off. We don't have to be so super careful now. We just want to be careful with Kirnai, to make sure she doesn't perish stupidly here. And yeah, one of these Mind Flayers had the second part of that rod. Yeah, now we're going to be able to combine the two halves. And we have this Illithid rod, which is going to open that last door. Let's just give Kirnai some stuff. We're not going to need this Scion's Blade anymore. Yeah, here's another Wand of Spell Striking. This one has 0 charges. They can actually use that. But we are going to be able to recharge it, and I think I am going to later on, because those are valuable. Although by now we have quite a few, so perhaps that's not going to be necessary. Alright, we have one more trap to detect here.
Yes, without doubt.
Some more projectiles.
Speak quickly and precisely. Yes.
Okay. Well, no, the last fight here is kind of
What is without
very disappointing. Not kind of disappointing, very disappointing. Do you have your chaotic commands? It seems like I think the people who got chaotic commands on the previous level the earliest, so Anomen and Sinashira, don't have that effect anymore. It's managed to expire, but Kirnai and Saravok still have. Of course, Saravok is going to have his Scion's Blade. Although we also need. We're also going to need to protect Kirnai with the Amulet of Power. And I think Kirnai is just going to do this alone. And maybe we can present here one of the spike traps that is going to soften up the opposition with its 20d6 damage. Once we loot this container with the red oil this time, These two those are supposed to be like Illithid sarcophagus, I guess. No, only one of them got actually damaged by that. It's a bit of a shame. But he was softened up enough so that we can just quickly finish him off. And now get rid of the other vampiric Illithids. They can actually drain levels with their attacks. That's, well, hence the Amulet of Power on Kirnai, who can of course equip everything. Even though the amulet normally is of course usable only by casters. I can give that to Saravok. I think they just drop potions of defense. That's good enough. Alright, so now we are done. We needed that rod to open this door, of course. Probably mentioned that, but gotta be thorough. Let me just double check if we looted everything here. Yeah. Alright, so we are done with the Illithid encampment. And we've heard about the Githyanki base, I guess, in the southeast. And that is going to be something that we are going to do next episode. But probably first we're actually going to go outside. This is the portal outside. This is the portal to the next level. Clearly inactive. But anyway, when it comes to this episode, I will cut it here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.